All glory to the Today is Easter Sunday.
Yes.
今日係復活節嘅星期日。
When I was a kid, we would paint boiled chicken eggs.
Painted.
Painted, and then they would be hidden, and we would go looking for them.
咁我哋以前我細路仔嘅時候，我哋就會油咗嗰啲雞蛋，然之後咧即係藏復活蛋係啦，變咗復活蛋，跟住之後就收埋喺啲地方，跟住要去揾咯。
You have that in Hong Kong also. But there's no place to hide the eggs.
冇地方喺香港冇地方收埋啲蛋。
Of course, there's other significance to Easter.
咁當然復活節有其他嘅意義啦。
Yeah, it's a day of great celebration in the Christian tradition.
咁係喺基督教嘅傳統裏面咧，係一個好大嘅慶祝嚟嘅。
Or the so-called resurrection of Jesus becomes the Christ.
咁就係耶穌咧成為咗基督，耶穌復活。
So, yes, great devotees we celebrate.
咁所以偉大嘅奉獻者，我哋應該係去到慶祝嘅。
Namo Vishnu-padaya Krishna-Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatari Manchadbhavatarvyascha Kripa-sindhubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatte Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Namosite Tapta Dorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusudevi Pranamami Hari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Sarasatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. We're reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 10. Which chapter? I was thinking, if no one minds, that we jump forward to chapter 32. This way we're doing like an overview of the Rasa Panchadhyaya.
如果大家唔介意嘅話咧，我諗緊我哋一齊跳到去第32章藏號嘅呢一章，咁我哋為整個5章嘅呢個 Rasa 嘅思維事講做一個概述。
And I propose that we go to the very last verse of chapter 32, verse 22.
咁我哋一跳咧就跳到去第32章嘅第22節先。呢個最後嘅一節先嚟，第32章最後一節先。
Okay, we can chant this together. This is a Trishtu verse.
咁呢一節詩呢個韻律咧就係 Trishtu。
Yes. Trishtu. Remember we discussed yesterday. Trishtu.
咁我哋琴日有討論過呢啲嘅唔同嘅韻律啦。
Okay, here we go. This is Krishna speaking.
咁呢個詩詞咧係由 Krishna 所去講嘅。
Naparayeham niravadya samyujam. Naparayeham niravadya samyujam. Svasadu krityam vibhuda-āyuṣāṁ. Svasadu krityam vibhuda-āyuṣāṁ. Yamavajantur jarageha shrinkala. Yamavajantur jarageha shrinkala. Samvrishyatatva pratiyatu sadhuna. Samvrishyatatva pratiyatu sadhuna. Others?
Dadhīmahi niradatyasam yujam. Svasadu krityam vibhuda-āyuṣāṁ. Yamavajantu jarageha shrinkala. Samvrishyatatva pratiyatu sadhuna.
Pratiyatu sadhuna.
Naparayeham niravadya samyujam. Svasadu krityam vibhuda-āyuṣāṁ. Yamavajantu jarageha shrinkala. Samvrishyatatva pratiyatu sadhuna.
Naparayeham niravadya samyujam. Svasadu krityam vibhuda-āyuṣāṁ.
Krityam Hirudashasima
Yamā-vajanyu-jarati-ha Shrinkala Samrichya Katva Pratiyatu Sadhuna
Nakarayeham Viravadya Samyajam Sātipīkyam vibhutāyuṣātiva Bhajantu jarageha shrinkalam Samrichyatatva pratigatus sadhuna
Beautiful words.
Huh?
Beautiful words.
Yes.
Beautiful melody.
Famous verse also. Okay. Na. Not. Ādaye. Am able to make. Aham. I. Niravadya samyujam. To those who are completely free from deceit.
對那些毫無欺騙傾向的人，
Svasadukrityam. Proper compensation.
適當的補償，
Bhavad-āyuṣāṁ. With a lifetime as long as that of the demigods.
用半神人的一生，
Api. Although.
雖然
Va. To you.
對你們
Ya. Who.
的人
Ma. Me.
我
Avajan. Have worshipped.
崇拜了，
Durjara. Difficult to overcome.
難以克服，
And Geha-shinkala. The chains of household life.
家庭生活的束縛，
Sambrishya. Cutting.
砍斷，
Tat. That.
那
Va. Of you.
你們的
Pratiyatu. Let it be returned.
讓他回報，
Sadhuna. By the good activity itself.
有善行本身，
Translation and purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: I am not able to repay my debt for your spotless service, even within a lifetime of Brahman. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties which are difficult to break. Therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation.
譯文及要旨由聖恩 A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada 追隨者所提供。譯文：我報答不了你們為我做的無暇的服務，哪怕是用 Brahma 的一生也報答不完。你們與我的連接是完美的， 你們崇拜我，切斷了難以割捨的一切家庭紐帶，因此讓你們本身的光榮事蹟補償你們吧。
Purport: the translation and word meanings of this verse are taken from Srila Prabhupada's English rendering of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 4.1a. In conclusion, the gopis became eternally glorious by their behavior in the Lord's temporary absence, and the mutual love between them and the Lord was wonderfully enhanced. This is the perfection of Krishna and his loving devotees.
要指這節詩文的譯文和字對字翻譯，採用聖帕奧帕德對聖典永恆的彩坦耶經首篇第4章的第180節詩的翻譯。總之，母牛姑娘在至尊主短暫消失的過程中所做的一切，使他們永恆光榮。他們與至尊主之間的愛奇妙地增強了，這是 Krishna 與他鍾愛的奉獻者的完美。
This is the final verse of chapter 32, which is act number 4 of the 5-act drama known as the Rasa Lila.
咁所以咧，今呢一節詩咧就係呢一個整5幕戲啦，當中第4幕嘅最後一節詩嚟嘅。
Yesterday we discussed the 3rd act, which we pointed out is because it's in the middle, it's very central and therefore very important.
咁我哋琴日咧指出咗咧第3幕啦，即係我哋琴日所討論嘅第31章啦，佢係屬於咧5幕戲裏面咧中間嘅部分，所以咧係特別嘅重要。
And we discussed how that in that chapter, which is known as the Gopi Gita, what's happening is there's no action, there's only singing songs.
咁所以咧喺呢一幕裏面咧，佢被稱為咧高邊 Gita， 意思即係咧母牛姑娘之歌，所以咧佢裏面咧係冇乜動作嘅，主要咧係佢哋喺度唱歌。
They're very beautiful songs praising Krishna. At the same time, they're all addressed directly to Krishna, who is absent.
咁所以咧佢哋係用好優美嘅歌曲啦，去到咧讚美 Krishna 啦，但係咧當佢哋唱呢首歌嘅時候咧 ，Krishna 咧並唔在場。
Or at least he seems to be absent.
咁其實佢或者佢睇起嚟仲唔在場。
I mean, they say that the Lord was very much present in the devotion of the gopis.
但我哋都可以話咧，喺母牛姑娘啦嘅奉愛當中咧，其實咧主咧係在場嘅。
And present in their words, which are wonderful poetry. We talked about poetry.
咁我哋琴日咧又提到呢一個好優美嘅詩啦，咁所以 Krishna 咧係存在咧喺佢哋呢一啲詩裏面。
How these verses, they're praising Krishna, but they're also expressing their own emotions, especially their sense of pain in the absence of Krishna.
咁所以佢哋用呢一啲詩咧係去到讚美 Krishna 啦，同一時間咧表達咧佢哋咧Krishna 唔喺度，佢哋所經歷嗰種嘅痛苦。
And also, it's not just a display of emotion, there's also some argumentation.
所以咧唔單止係呢一個嘅情感嘅表達啦，而且咧裏面又包含一啲理據。
And the basic argument is, we've given our life to you, so, the least thing you can do is make yourself present, visible.
最基本嘅理據咧就係我哋已經將我哋嘅生命咧獻咗俾你啦，請你咧係出現翻。
The last verse of the chapter 30, or start 31, the Gopi Gita, is there's a change of meter.
咁喺第31章呢個母牛姑娘之歌裏面咧，最後嘅一節詩咧，嗰個韻律咧係改變咗嘅。
It becomes Vasanta Tilaka.
Vasanta Tilaka.
That's the name of the verse meter.
咁呢個係呢一節詩嗰種嘅韻律改變咗嘅，比同之前嘅唔一樣。
And a particular type of Vasanta tilaka called Shrakvari.
咁呢一種嘅韻律咧有特別之處咧，佢哋其中一類咧就叫做 Shrakvari。
Vyathate sujāta-caraṇa-ambu-ruham staneṣu bhītāḥ śanaiḥ priya dadhīmahi karkaśeṣu tenāṭavīm aṭasi vyathate svit kūrpa-ādibhiḥ bhramati dhīr bhavad-āyuṣāṁ. Oh, dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breasts, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Our life rests only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path.
譯文：我們心愛的心上人啊，你的籬笆竹那麼柔軟，我們溫柔地將它們置於我們的胸口，生怕傷到它們。因此，我們心中充滿焦慮，擔心你在森林小路上漫步時，你柔軟的雙足會被碎石刺傷。
So their song of praise is also a song of lament, but here in the end it's a song of concern, anxiety not for themselves but for Krishna.
咁所以佢哋嘅呢啲歌曲裏面咧有讚美啦，喺呢一度咧又表現出咧佢哋內心咧充滿一種焦慮。
And as I mentioned yesterday, there's a kind of suggestion in all these verses of the innocence of the gopis.
咁其實喺呢啲詩節裏面咧，表現出咧母牛姑娘咧嗰一種嘅天真無邪。
So a theme we can say of the whole Rasa Lila is innocent and pure love.
咁所以整個呢一個Rasa 嘅逍遙時光咧，佢所嘅主題表達嘅主題咧，就係一種嘅純粹嘅一種嘅愛。
And it's a kind of, you can say, a discussion. The whole story is how to understand what would be pure love.
咁所以整個故事啦，我哋嘗試去到明白咧何謂呢一種嘅叫做純粹嘅愛。
What would pure love look like? What would it feel like?
咁呢一種純粹嘅愛係睇落嚟係咩樣嘅咧？或者佢係一個點樣嘅感受咧？
So the gopis have, it seems they've been successful in persuading Krishna to reappear.
咁睇落嚟好似佢哋成功啦，令到咧 Krishna 咧係再度出現。
Because that's what happens in the beginning of chapter 32.
咁就係第32章咧開始嘅時候。
It's been noted by Garuda Prabhu that this chapter has two sections. The first section is the first, I think, 14 verses is descriptive of Krishna's return and how the gopis react to his return.
所以根據 Garuda Prabhu 咧，佢將呢一章咧分開兩個部分，咁就係由第一節詩啦到到第14節詩咧，就講到咧 Krishna 咧翻嚟啦，然之後咧母牛姑娘咧有啲咩嘅回應。
And the second part, you could say, is proper drama in the sense that there's a dialogue.
咁第二部分咧就係佢哋之間咧係裏面咧係有一啲對話嘅出現嘅。
In which the gopis discuss with Krishna about different sorts of love, different qualities of love.
咁母牛姑娘咧係對 Krishna 咧去到咧講述咧唔同品質嘅愛。
So we'll get to that, but first let's look at the first part, the description of Krishna's return and the gopis' response to his return.
咁我哋可以先去咧睇第一部分啦，就係 Krishna 咧從即係歸回啦，然之後咧母牛姑娘嘅反應。
So it describes that Krishna disappears.
咁所以裏面講到咧 ，Krishna 咧就消失咗，
With it, he appears
佢出現咗，出現翻。
with a smile,
咁佢出現嘅時候咧係微笑住嘅，
as if there's been no problem.
就好似咩事都冇發生過。
And he doesn't say, "Here I am."
咁佢話：我翻嚟啦。
He doesn't have to say anything.
佢冇講任何説話。
He's wearing a nice garland,
咁佢佩戴住花環啦，好靚嘅花環。
and he's described as Manmata Manmata.
咁咧佢係描述
Verse
為
number 2.
第二節詩裏面咧有個梵文字就係 manmata manmata，
which means, one meaning is, well, Manmata can mean Cupid, Kamadeva,
咁 manmata 咧其實佢可以係指呢個丘比特，
or he who bewilders the mind.
或者呢一個咧迷惑人心嘅人。
And then Manmata Manmata means the bewilderer of the one who bewilders the mind. The mind bewildering of the one who bewilders the mind.
咁個心意迷惑一個迷惑心意嘅人。
Yeah. Which is the name for Krishna. Krishna is he who is so attractive that even Cupid, who is confusing everyone,
咁所以
Krishna
其實佢所指咧就係Krishna 啦，佢甚至咧令到咧丘比特都覺得好迷惑。
Yeah. Let's see. We had some more explanation of this. This is verse number 2. Oh, hold on. I'm looking at the explanations of Garuda Prabhu in his book of his called The Dance of Divine Love, which he published a few years ago.
咁我喺度睇緊係 Garuda Prabhu 佢出版嘅呢一本書咧，就係呢一個神聖嘅愛之舞啦。咁裏面佢嘅解釋係幾年前出版嘅。
Just not come close. Okay. Here we go. The word manmata means, by connotation, either an emotional state of love, which is amorous passion,
咁所以呢個 manmata 其中一個意思咧，就係一種嘅情感啦，係有一種嘅激情。
or it can refer to the personification of the emotional state of love, which is the God of love.
咁另外一個去到演繹咧，解釋咧就係呢一個嘅愛神，人格化，係一個愛嘅人格化。
And so Sridhar Maharaj explains this. We just said that Krishna is the one who disturbs the mind of he who disturbs the mind of the whole world.
咁所以 Krishna 就係嗰一個人啦，佢去到咧迷惑人嘅心意啦，而嗰啲人咧亦都係嘅心意被騷擾、被迷惑。
去迷惑人嗰啲嗰個人，即係 Cupid 咯。
咁即係丘比特其實去迷惑人嘅嘛，但係 Krishna 就迷惑咗丘比特。
And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, furthermore, Krishna stuns the mind. And the mind just goes, doesn't go anymore.
咁Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur咧就講到咧 ，Krishna 咧係令到一個人嘅心意咧、思想咧係停頓咗。
And so he's stunning the mind of Cupid.
咁所以佢令到丘比特啦，佢嘅所有嘅念頭啦，全部都停頓，思想停頓咗。
Yeah, so usually Cupid is busy going around disturbing everyone. But then when he sees Krishna, he's like,
咁所以丘比特咧成日去到揾即係去到騷擾唔同嘅人啦。但係當佢見到 Krishna 嘅時候咧，佢成個人停咗喺度。
Also, he mentions that this verse is describing Sambhoga, the meeting of the Lord and the gopis. This is the technical term.
咁呢個 Sambhoga 咧，其實佢係講述Krishna 啦同埋母牛姑娘之間嘅呢個重聚。
Yeah, there's been vipralambha, separation, and now is coming the meeting together.
所以之前咧係呢一種嘅分離啦 ，vipralambha， 而家咧就係重聚。
Yeah. So, of course, the gopis are very happy.
咁當然母牛姑娘啦，肯定好開心。
And they react in different ways. Now the individuality of the gopis comes out.
咁咧，佢哋咧每個人咧都有唔同嘅反應。喺呢度咧，我哋見到每一位唔同嘅母牛姑娘啦，佢哋嘅反應。
So, for example, one gopi takes Krishna's hand between her two palms.
咁喺第4節詩裏面咧，描述到有一位母牛姑娘咧，好高興咁樣將自己嘅雙手啦捧住 Krishna 嘅手。
And another gopi takes Krishna's arm and puts it on her shoulder.
另外一位母牛姑娘咧，將 Krishna 嘅手臂放喺自己嘅膊頭上面。
Hard to picture exactly how she might have done that, but
好難想像佢究竟係點樣做得到。
Another gopi respectfully takes the betel which Krishna had chewed in her joined hands.
咁有一位母牛姑娘咧，尊敬地將 Krishna 咧咀嚼過嘅檳榔咧放喺自己嘅手裏面。
And here's another one that's difficult to picture. Another gopi, burning with desire, put his lotus feet on her breasts.
咁另外一位佢呢個叫欲火中燒嘅母牛姑娘，將 Krishna 嘅蓮花中放喺自己嘅胸口上面。
So does that mean she lay down flat and grabbed his feet? How did that work? I don't know.
係咪即係話嗰位母牛姑娘可能瞓咗喺度，然之後捉住 Krishna 隻腳放喺自己個胸口嗰度，唔知道點樣做到。
One of the gopis exhibited loving anger.
另外一位母牛姑娘咧，展示出呢一種愛嘅憤怒、狂怒。
This is called prema samramba vivala.
咁呢度梵文字就叫做 prema samramba vivala， 係咪？
Yeah, verse 6. And she bit her lip and she stared at Krishna with frowning eyebrows.
然之後佢係咬緊自己個嘴唇啦，皺住眉頭啦，盯住 Krishna， 用佢嘅好嚴厲嘅斜視將佢刺穿。
Another gopi, she just stares at Krishna with unblinking eyes.
然之後有一位母牛姑娘咧，眼眨都唔眨望住 Krishna 嘅蓮花。
And it says she was not satiated. She was just drinking the vision of Krishna, but it wasn't enough. She just wanted more.
咁呢度講到佢用佢嘅眼睛咧去到品嚐 Krishna 嘅甜美咧，但係依然覺得唔滿足。
Another gopi similarly looked at Krishna and drew Krishna through her eyes into her heart.
有一位母牛姑娘就透過眼睛啦，將 Krishna 咧放喺自己嘅心中啦，然之後咧眯埋眼睛。
And then within her heart, she mentally embraced Krishna.
所以跟住喺佢嘅心裏面咧，佢不斷咁樣咧去到擁抱 Krishna。
But how did this all look? Well, she's looking like a yogi meditating on the Lord.
所以佢睇起嚟咧就好似一位咧冥想緊至尊主嘅瑜伽師。
So then then all of this is referred to as a great festivity. festival.
所以咧，一切睇起嚟就好似一個節慶一樣，慶典一樣。
Padma Utsava. Utsava, you know the word means festival.
Utsava 嘅意思咧，即係慶典節日。
So you could say this is the epitome of all festivity of celebration.
所以我哋可以話呢一個係所有嘅呢一啲嘅慶典裏面咧嘅最高嘅、最崇高嘅慶典。
And then the next verse mentions that Krishna was surrounded, he was encircled by the gopis.
然之後下一節裏面咧講到咧 ，Krishna 咧係俾牧牛姑娘咧所去包圍住。
And this kind of takes us back to the whole concept of the Rasa dance, which is a circle dance.
咁又翻返去呢一個 Rasa 之舞咧，其實係一個圍住圈嘅一場舞嚟嘅。
There's a tradition in South India of a circle dance that's practiced, and it's called Rasa dance.
咁喺南印度咧，佢哋會有呢一種嘅排舞啦，咁就係圍圈咁樣去到練舞嘅。咁佢哋將呢個舞稱為 Rasa dance，Rasa 之舞，傳統印度南印度一個傳統嚟。
And also, we can say this is the highest point of. This is a mandala. Mandala appears in different ways in the Bhagavatam.
咁我哋都話呢個好似一個叫mandala，佢係一個mandala 展示嘅一個極致。
The first mandala we meet in the Bhagavatam is in the first canto, where the sages of Naimisharanya are all assembled surrounding Sutta Goswami.
咁第一個嘅 mandala 咧就係當所有嘅呢啲聖節啦聚集埋一齊啦，然之後咧包圍住Sutta Goswami。
Yeah, so there's other references to mandala, and then we come to this Rasa Panchanyaya, and this is where you can say the primordial ultimate mandala is manifest.
咁然之後有其他嘅mandala啦，咁我哋去到呢度咧就係呢個Rasa 嘅思月時光裏面咧所展示嘅呢一個 mandala 啦，係話係一個最極即係最崇高、最極致嘅呢個 mandala。
And we might want to call it a prema mandala.
我哋可以將佢咧稱為呢一個 prema mandala。
Circle of love.
就係咧呢一個愛嘅圓圈。
Yeah.
愛嘅圓圈、圍圈、愛嘅圓。
Okay, so Krishna's appeared, they've all responded in these ways. Now Krishna takes the gopis to the bank of the Yamuna, referred to as Kalindi.
然之後咧Krishna 翻嚟啦，牛姑娘有唔同嘅回應啦，跟住咧 Krishna 咧就將佢咧帶到去 Yamuna 嘅河畔啦，呢度係稱為咧 Kalindi。
And now we get again some attention on nature.
跟住我哋又有一啲嘅對大自然嘅一啲嘅描述。
In chapter 30, where the gopis are searching for Krishna in the forest, there's lots of reference to nature.
咁所以喺第30章嘅時候咧，當牛姑娘去到尋找 Krishna 咧，有好多咧係關於大自然啦、環境嘅一啲描述。
As there was in the very beginning of chapter 29.
咁喺第29章嘅開始嘅時候，亦都有嘅。
And so now, again, this time we have the Yamuna river, and she has scattered piles of soft sand upon the shore.
咁所以佢哋翻去呢個Yamuna河嗰度啦。咁Yamuna河咧係咧準備咗咧好多柔軟嘅細沙啦，準備俾佢哋。
So she's a personal river because she has done this with the hands which are her waves.
咁呢度描述到咧，Yamuna河咧用佢浪淘之手將河灘嘅成堆嘅沙子潑灑，所以佢係一個人格化嚟嘅。
So we don't usually think of waves of a river as hands.
我哋有時好少話想像到海浪咧，可以將佢睇成好似一隻手。
But when we're invited to think of the waves as hands, this makes a very interesting picture.
但係我哋將呢個海浪想像成係一隻手啊，去好特別嘅一個景象。
Because for one thing, it means that Yamuna Devi has very many hands.
咁所以一方面咧，其實佢表達 Yamuna 河咧 ，Yamuna Devi 咧有好多隻手。
Yeah. What's the name of the Chinese goddess with many hands?
觀音。
Guan Yi, yes. Guan Yi with 1,000 hands.
千手觀音。
So it seems that Yamuna has more.
但係 Yamuna 女神有更加多嘅手。
And there's this auspicious, there's a wonderful breeze, and there's fragrance of kunda and mandara flowers.
跟住有呢一個嘅微風啦，微風吹拂啦，裏面咧係帶住呢一個合竹桃同埋刺紅花嘅芳香。
And even though it must be late at night by now, there are bees being attracted to these flowers.
咁當時應該係好夜㗎啦，咁咧但係仲有好多咧蜜蜂咧係被吸引嘅飛到過嚟。
Usually bees are back home at night, aren't they?
應該夜晚啲蜜蜂唔會出門嘅嘛。
So these are special bees.
所以呢啲係特別嘅蜜蜂嚟嘅。
Busy bees.
好忙碌嘅蜜蜂。
And there's now plenty of light from the moon.
然之後咧，呢一個月亮啦，散發住呢一個嘅光芒。
Remember, the gopis gave up their search in the forest because they could no longer see the moon. It was so dark. So they left, but now on the bank of the Kalindi, the moon is out, and again it's very nice.
我哋之前講到咧，鳳凰姑娘因為天好黑啦，然之後咧冇呢一個月光嘅照耀啦，所以佢哋就放棄咗啦，就冇再去揾 Krishna 啦。但係呢度咧，呢個月亮咧又再出現翻。
So then verse 13 describes the satisfaction of the gopis.
跟住第13節咧，表達出咧鳳凰姑娘嗰種嘅滿足。
Tat darshana ahlada viduta hritmujo. Darshana ahlada, the joy of seeing.
就係嗰一種見到 Krishna 嘅喜樂。
Which is viduta hrit ruja, which has dispelled, it's driven away the pain from their hearts.
呢一種嘅快樂咧，令到咧佢哋內心嗰種嘅悲傷咧係驅散走。
So now the trouble is finally over. Remember, drama means there's some problem. Now it seems the problem is solved.
咁我哋講到戲劇咧，就係有一啲嘅問題出現咗啦。而家睇嚟呢個問題已經得到解決啦。
So one might think, okay, drama is over, we can go home.
咁我哋可能諗，嗰出戲已經完啦，我哋可以翻屋企啦。
It's a drama with a happy ending.
咁係一個圓滿嘅結局啦。
But no, there's a problem.
跟住又有個問題出現咗啦，仲未完嘅。
The gopis want to understand why did Krishna disappear.
鳳凰姑娘咧好想知道點解 Krishna 會消失咧？
He's come back now, but why did he disappear?
佢而家翻嚟啦，但係點解佢之前要消失咧？
Because unless they understand why he disappeared, who knows, maybe he'll disappear again.
因為佢哋要確保知道點解 Krishna 會消失，因為佢哋擔心 Krishna 會再次消失。
So they need to know, did we do something wrong?
所以佢哋要知道，佢哋要諗啦，我哋會唔會做錯咗啲咩事咧？
Because if we did something wrong, we don't want to do something wrong again and have the same problem.
咁所以佢哋諗，我如果做錯咗啲咩事嘅話，唔希望再重複做錯呢一啲事啦。 因為佢如果唔係咧 ，Krishna 可能會再次消失，又會出現呢個問題。
But before that, we get this nice sort of completion of this vision of this mandala, verse number 14.
咁喺第14節裏面咧，係有呢一個嘅mandala， 呢個完整嘅 mandala。
Yeah. Can you? Well, I'll read the English and read the translation. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whom the great masters of mystic meditation arrange a seat within their hearts, took his seat in the assembly of gopis. His transcendental body, the exclusive abode of beauty and opulence within the three worlds, shone brilliantly as the gopis worshipped him.
神秘主義瑜伽師以冥想的方式，在自己心中為其鋪設座椅的主 Krishna， 至尊人格守神，在夢牛姑娘中間坐下。他那集三界中全部美麗與財富於一身的超然身軀，在夢牛姑娘崇拜他時放射着燦爛的光芒。
So the next verse describes some more detail about how they worship him. But then it says, even while worshiping him, however, they felt somewhat angry. Thus they addressed him as follows.
咁第15節裏面咧就再仔細講啦，夢牛姑娘咧點樣去到崇拜 Krishna 啦。雖然佢哋喺度崇拜 Krishna 啦，但係咧佢哋崇拜嘅時候咧仲係有一啲嬲喎，所以對佢講咗以下呢一番説話。
Yeah, so now starts the second scene within Act 4, so to say. This is where this discussion begins.
咁所以之後咧就係我哋呢一章嘅呢一幕嘅第二個部分啦，就係佢哋之間咧有一啲嘅討論。
And they start the discussion just by asking a question.
咁所以夢牛姑娘咧，佢哋開始呢個討論嘅時候咧，佢先問咗一個問題。
They say there seem to be three types of lovers.
咁咧，佢哋就喺裏面講到咧，有3種嘅愛人。
And they just ask Krishna, can you please discuss this?
跟住佢就同 Krishna 講啦，可唔可以討論下呢一樣嘢咧？可唔可以傾一傾
？And there's a short purport here, which is nice. It says, by this apparently polite question, the gopis want to expose Lord Krishna's failure to properly reciprocate their love.
所以喺要節裏面講到咧，夢牛姑娘咧去問呢啲問題咧，睇起上嚟好似好有禮貌啦。其實咧佢想揭露啊 Krishna 冇以正確適當嘅方式同佢哋進行愛嘅互動。
So they're suggesting that there's some injustice has been done on the part of Krishna.
所以佢哋覺得自己係被 Krishna 不公平咁對待。
So they want an explanation.
所以佢哋而家要個解釋。
So it's a little bit like a courtroom. And also they will be the jury.
咁佢哋係控訴佢啦，同一時間咧，佢哋係一個陪審團嘅咩？陪審團。
And Krishna doesn't get any there's no lawyer to defend Krishna. He has to defend himself.
Krishna 冇律師代表佢辯護，佢自辯。
So then Krishna gives a little speech.
跟住 Krishna 講咗一番説話。
In which he describes the three different types of lovers.
咁喺裏面都提到咧有3種唔同嘅愛人。
If they did not expect benefit for themselves, they would not reciprocate.
如果佢哋冇期望得到自己嘅利益咧，佢哋就唔會同其他人去到互動。
This reminds me, there's one of the dialogues, I forget which one, of Plato, the Greek philosopher, is on this. Actually more than one, but there's discussion about the nature of friendship, and this same point comes up.
咁所以 Plato 呢一個哲學家咧，佢喺一個對話錄裏面咧，佢亦都有討論到咧呢個友誼咧嘅一啲品質啦、本質啦，佢都提到呢一點。
Okay, so this is describing, we might say, quasi-friendship, pseudo-friendship, false friendship. It's based on a kind of business arrangement.
咁所以我哋話呢一種嘅友誼咧，其實係假嘅，係虛偽嘅。咁佢係基於咧一啲嘅即係啲利益。
Garuda Prabhu points out that this root.
即係一個
北字嗰
一個奉愛嘅呢一個根。
Yeah. And out of that verbal root we get the word bhakti.
然之後係呢個字根裏面咧，我哋得到呢一個字bhakti 呢一個字。
So verse 17 has the word bhajanti, also verse 18, and verse 19 has bhajata, which is same, little different grammatical.
咁所以喺第17節詩裏面有呢個 bhajanti 啦，第18節詩有呢個 bhajato， 第19節詩都出現呢個 bhajato。
Actually, all the verses, all the way to the end, have something with this word.
咁所以一路之後嘅詩節咧都出現過呢一個字根㗎。
Anyway, that's a detail. Okay, so then the next category is described, verse 18.
即係啲細節啦，咁跟住之後咧就去到第18節詩。
My dear slender-waisted gopis, some people are genuinely merciful, or, like parents, naturally affectionate. Such persons, who devotedly serve even those who fail to reciprocate with them, are following the true, faultless path of religion, and they are true well-wishers.
第18節詩譯文：我親愛嘅纖腰無牛姑。
Lord Chaitanya's verse in the Sikshastakam.
咁呢度裏面嘅描述咧，同呢一個主菜坦爺嘅八分規裏面其中一個詩節咧係有一個共鳴。
Or the other way around. Ashlishava pararatam dinashtumas adava didadatu lampato mad prananatas tu sakevanata. I know no one other than Krishna as my Lord, and he shall always remain so.
咁我除咗 Krishna 之外咧，我亦都唔知道所有認識其他人啦。Krishna 係我唯一嘅主。
Whether he embraces me or whether he neglects me, there are the Atma-ramas, those who are self-satisfied.
一種咧就係 Atma-rama， 即係咧佢靈性上面自我滿足嘅人。
There are those who are aptakama, they have obtained what they desire.
咁 Aptakama 意思即係話佢哋係物質上面滿足嘅人。
There are the akritanya, those who are ungrateful.
咁另外就 Akritanya 就係嗰啲忘恩負義嘅人。
Incidentally, one of the 64 qualities of Krishna is that he is kritanya, he is grateful.
咁 Krishna 64個品質裏面咧，其中一個品質咧，佢就係去到感恩嘅人。
And then there are guru druha, those who are inimical to superiors.
另外咧就係呢個 Guru Druha， 就係嗰啲咧去到敵視優於自己嘅人。
So this category includes 4 subcategories which seem to be quite opposite. Some are very nice and some are not nice at all.
咁所以呢一種人裏面有包含咗4種嘅 4種人啦，但係佢哋睇落去好似比較相反佢哋個品質。
But then, verse number 20, Krishna gives his explanation, his defense, self-defense, because they're all accusing him, and now he's giving his reason why he disappeared.
嗰日咧，佢哋去到控訴 Krishna 啦，咁喺第20節裏面咧 ，Krishna 咧就去到反駁佢哋，講出自己嘅理據。
But the reason I do not immediately reciprocate the affection of living beings, even when they worship me, O gopis, is that I want to intensify their loving devotion.
咁Krishna 就講到，我之所以唔即刻去到回應眾生對我嘅情感，甚至當佢哋崇拜我嘅時候都冇回應，係因為我想增強佢哋嘅奉愛之情。
They then become like a poor man who has gained some wealth and then lost it, and who thus becomes so anxious about it that he can think of nothing else.
咁佢哋就會變成嗰啲好似得到某一啲錢財之後又失去咗嘅窮人啦，佢就會極度掛住，而冇辦法掛住嗰啲錢財，而冇辦法去諗其他事。
So Krishna is saying, you may think that I am in this apritagya category, subcategory of these who do not reciprocate.
咁 Krishna 就同我話姑娘講，你可能覺得咧我係屬於嗰啲忘恩負義嘅人啦，冇去到回應你哋啦。
But no, that's not the problem.
但其實我唔係咁樣㗎，個問題唔係出喺呢度。
The problem is you.
個問題係出喺你嗰度。
The problem is, yes, you have so much love, but I could see that it wasn't enough, so I wanted to increase it.
咁所以 Krishna 同我話姑娘講，我見到你對我係有好多好多嘅愛，但係都係呢種愛仲未足夠，所以我要將佢更加增強。
But it's interesting that here he says nothing about the problem of pride, which was the problem in the beginning.
咁有趣嘅地方就係 Krishna 呢度咧係冇提過咧嗰種驕傲或者自滿啦，而呢一個係之前所產生嘅問題嚟。
But after giving his explanation to defend himself and not exactly accuse, but to say that, there was something lacking in you, and so I wanted to help. So now that's all he says about that.
咁所以 Krishna 唯一所講嘅其實都唔算係一種控訴啦，佢只不過係講，好似你哋當中有啲嘢缺少咗，我就想幫你哋去填補翻嗰啲缺少咗嘅嘢。
He kind of turns it around with verse number 21. He says, actually, you're so great, you gave up everything for me.
咁喺第21節嘅時候 ，Krishna 用另外一種方法去表達啦。佢話：你哋係非常之偉大嘅，因為你哋放棄咗一切。
And I just wanted to perfect your devotion. It was already so great. I wanted to make it the absolute top.
咁你哋嘅奉愛已經係咁偉大啦，不過我想幫你哋，令到你哋嘅奉愛咧變得完美，成為咧最絕對嘅、最崇高嘅呢個愛。
So he says, even I disappeared and you didn't see me, I never stopped loving you.
咁雖然我消失咗啦，你見唔到我啦，但係咧，我從來冇停止過去愛你哋。
He says, therefore, my beloved gopis, please do not harbor any bad feelings toward me.
咁所以 Krishna 喺第21節詩嗰度講到話：我心愛嘅夢華姑娘啊，請你唔好對你哋嘅心上人懷有任何唔好嘅感覺。
I'm innocent.
我係無辜嘅。
So Krishna now makes his request. His request is, please don't think badly of me.
咁所以 Krishna 有個請求啦，就話你唔好對我有啲唔好嘅感覺或者睇法。
And then we have the final verse, and this final verse is very interesting because it's a kind of confession.
咁最後一節詩咧非常之有意思嘅，就好似Krishna 咧係喺度懺悔。
So we have the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is making a confession.
咁我哋講就想像下至尊人格手神喺度做懺悔。
I confess.
我懺悔。
He says, I'm not able to repay my debt for your spotless service.
我冇辦法咧，去到報答咧你為我做呢一啲無瑕嘅服務。
So in effect, he's saying the gopis are greater than him.
所以其實佢所表達嘅意思就係 Krishna 咧，母牛姑娘咧，比 Krishna 更加偉大。
So in the discussion, the debate over the nature, different types of love, Krishna is admitting defeat.
咁所以之前去到討論到啦，唔同嘅愛啦嘅呢個嘅品質啦、本質啦，跟住 Krishna 就話我被擊敗啦。
Yeah, Krishna is saying, your love is so great. I wouldn't be able to properly repay even in the lifetime of the Devas, bhavad-āyuṣāṁ.
咁所以 Krishna 講你哋嘅愛係如此嘅偉大啦，所以我係甚至係半神人嘅一生啊，都冇辦法去到回報答你哋。
And he says basically, all I can say is, please be satisfied with your own goodness.
咁所以最後 Krishna 就講啦，你哋就因住你哋嘅呢一個嘅呢個叫做光榮事蹟，你哋嘅善良去到滿足啦。
Yeah, sadhu means a sadhu, an ascetic, but it also means a good person.
咁呢個 sadhana 嘅意思係可以話係一個苦修者啦，苦行者啦，亦都可以咧解作係善行，即係善嘅行為。
So be satisfied with your own goodness.
咁所以就你就滿足啦，滿足於你嘅善行。
Well, what do you think? Are the gopis going to be satisfied with their own goodness?
咁你估母牛姑娘係咪就咁就滿足到咧？
So this is going to lead into the final chapter of the Rasa Lila Katha.
跟住由呢一度咧就去到過渡到咧呢一個5章裏面嘅最後一章啦。
In which we will, so to say, witness how the Lord will satisfy the gopis fully.
之後我哋就會睇到主咧點樣咧係完全咁樣咧去到滿足母牛姑娘。
Although here he's saying he can't satisfy them.
雖然咧佢呢度咧講到佢冇辦法咧去到滿足佢哋。
So we have again a little bit of suspense. It's a drama, and there's a bit of suspense here.
所以呢個係一出戲嚟㗎。咁喺呢度咧又有一少少嘅懸念。
Because before the suspense was Krishna has disappeared. Where is he? Will he reappear?
咁所以之前有一個懸念咧，就係 Krishna 消失咗啦，佢去咗邊度咧？佢會唔會再出現翻咧？
Will the love of the gopis attract Krishna to come back?
咁母牛姑娘嘅愛咧，會唔會吸引 Krishna 翻嚟咧？
And then this chapter says, yes, he comes back. Jai.
呢一章就講到佢翻嚟啦 ，Jai。
But there's still a problem. Why did he disappear? And now he gives an explanation.
跟住，但係都有個問題出現，就係佢點解會消失咧？跟住又有解釋咯。
And then a confession. And the confession is that he's saying, I am actually inadequately reciprocating your love.
然之後 Krishna 就懺悔啦，佢就話：其實咧，我係冇辦法啊，係去到回報你哋。
So there's a kind of, we might say, asymmetry, lack of symmetry.
唔平衡，有一種不平衡。
Yeah, the gopis' love is so great. Krishna is saying, what do I do?
咁所以呢種唔平衡咧就係母牛姑娘嘅愛係咁偉大啦，咁 Krishna 點算啊？
Krishna, who is all-powerful Lord, he can do everything. He can reciprocate with all living entities fully, and now he's saying, actually, I can't really do it.
咁 Krishna 係最有力量㗎啦，最有力量嘅，但係佢喺 喺呢個情況之下，佢可以同所有嘅唔同嘅生物體去到交流回應啦。但係喺呢一個情況，佢就出現咗，佢話我冇辦法去到回應，冇辦法去報答佢哋，無能為力。
So stay tuned for the final episode tomorrow morning.
咁請大家密切留意聽日朝頭早嘅狀況。
Srimad-Bhagavatam
Jai.
Śrīla Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Rasa Panchadhyaya ki
Jai.
Gopis ki
Jai.
Gopinatha ki
Jai.
Gaur Prema.